This empty lot probably looks familiar. Perhaps that's because it looks like a lot of other empty blocks, but also because you may have passed right by it. It's only a few blocks from City Hall, right downtown, at the corner of Reese Street and Pope Street. So, what makes this empty lot so interesting? And what is this man looking for? And who is he?
I'm Michael Thurman, a native of Athens. I'm currently serving as CEO of DeKalb County, Georgia.
In 1986, Michael Thurman became the first African American man elected to represent Athens in the Georgia State Legislature since the era of Reconstruction. Reconstruction is the historical period from roughly 1865 until 1877 when the United States worked to repair the damage from its Civil War and began to address the deplorable ways African Americans had been treated during centuries of slavery. That included establishing some of the first schools for black students in the state of Georgia. So back to this vacant lot. This may be all that remains of the Knox Institute and Industrial School. First called the Knox School, it opened in 1868 and was one of the first schools for black students in Georgia.
There were two great desires among the newly freed black population. One was to own land, and closely followed by the desire to receive formal education. Whites, the majority of them at that point after the Civil War, recognized the threat that this would oppose to white supremacy.
It had previously been illegal to teach enslaved people how to read in the South. When Reconstruction ended, those Southern whites reclaimed political power and public support for the Knox Institute was cut. But the school continued to operate until 1928 with the financial support of local black leaders as well as groups of sympathetic Northerners. The Andrew Carnegie Foundation paid for the main building.
The brick structure was very prominent, and it was celebrated and created a tremendous amount of pride for the students, their parents, and for the entire community.
That community included Monroe Morton. He was the entrepreneur who built the famous Morton Theater, and Hall Johnson, a successful musician, performer, and composer of beloved popular and religious music. And maybe you haven't heard these names, but black history hasn't always been given equal attention in schools.
In the spring of 1971, in a classroom at Clark Central High School, where I was a senior, the only class where I did not have a textbook was my Black History class. And my history teacher, Miss Elizabeth King, challenged myself one day that if you really want a book for the class, you should write one.
Thurman published A Story Untold, Black Men and Women of Athens in 1978. But of course, it can't tell the whole story. There's always more to history. There's always another chapter, and the next young author may be sitting in a high school classroom right now.